can adapt our own behavior to work more effectively with them. And this is going to apply whether you're talking about managing up or down, working remotely, working together in an office, when that ever happens again, or even with your family and friends, and of course clients. So back to apples and loving results. I had this friend who was an off the scale apple. And I always tell this story about her being in sales. She was in sales for, she was in this job for quite a while, and there were big sales, and she'd been working on this sale for a really long time. And she got right to the end, and her contact collapsed and was rushed to hospital. So as an apple, she did the only possible thing. She went to the hospital and she got the contract signed. So bananas would be at home baking a cake, but apples will do anything to get a result. And mind you, this is the same girl who physically pushed me off a chair in order to win a board game. So now I'm hearing virtual sniggering and laughter. Apples also have this amazing self-confidence that they can do anything that they put their mind to. But I think I know their little secret. So what apples do is they only do the stuff that they know they're going to win. Right? They don't try stuff if they can't come first. So my girlfriend, I've watched her. She won't go in the parents' running race at school because she can't win. And she won't race me in a long distance swim because she can't win. But she'll go the sprint every time, every single time. Apples also love a challenge, not so much for fun, but to master a new skill. So they love to get really good at things. They like to problem solve. Their apples are intellectually really smart. So they love to just get in there and solve and love to be the best at something, I guess. So not only to master a new skill, but really to be the best at something. Strong apples also really like family. Now this might surprise you. If you know any strong apples, you'll be going, yeah, but they're workaholics. Right? They can't really like their family as much as they do, but don't be confused. They're absolutely obsessive with family. And in fact, they put so much energy into their family, into their close circle, that they don't have a lot of room and energy left over for the rest of us. So if your apple is used to coming to work, don't expect them to say, hello, how's your weekend? Because they don't care. I just, they kind of care, but they don't. Apples also love strategy. They are, as I mentioned, they're smart. So apples love intellectual debate, tossing out problems, and big picture strategy. They really enjoy throwing these sort of issues around. Now, what they don't like, I'll just give you a moment to read this on the screen. This is the first thing that strong apples don't like. Apples think stupidity is an unforgivable crime. They can't stand stupidity, incompetence, people who can't keep up. But I've got something to tell you. So apples have this gift of critical analysis. They're big picture and really logical thinkers. So, and as I said, they're smart. So they think really fast. They can see a problem, look at 6 different solutions, find the right solution, while the rest of us are still reading the brief. So it's not always that we're stupid apples. Sometimes we're just thinking at a slightly different, a different pace to the way that you do. I think this is a huge source well, I know it is a huge source of frustration in the workplace. What I'm going to do, I'm going to get to the end of apples, and then I might just open it up for a bit of a chat. Then we can go on to the next one. The other thing that frustrates apples is their lack of independent thinking. Sorry, not their lack of independent thinking, yours. They can't stand mental laziness. So the last thing you want to do is go to your apple boss and go, I've got a problem, help me. And they're just going to go, oh, God, can you just do some thinking for yourself? So what they want you to do is come along, go, I've got a problem, been thinking about it, I've got a few ideas, I'd love to bounce them around with you. And then you'll find that you'll have much better respect from your apple boss, because whether you like it or not, and whether this is right or wrong, an apple consciously or unconsciously will see it as a weakness when you're not thinking for yourself. Lastly, they can't stand losing control. If you know any strong apples, you will know this is particularly true. They like to be in control of everything and everyone. So you can imagine at the moment how they're feeling, just a little bit out of whack. You'll know when an apple loses control because their voice just gets sort of louder and louder and louder, and they talk over the top of you. Because most of us, when that happens, we tend to pull back. We tend to sort of back away and let them be big and boisterous. But here's the thing: next time your apple does that, understand that they are just feeling vulnerable. They're starting to feel out of control and emotionally vulnerable. And if there is one thing an apple can't stand, it's that. And in fact, at work, in the old workplace, apples put up an artificial persona often in order to create a wall so you don't get in, so they can't get into that really vulnerable space. Now, how do apples feel about conflict, do you think? Yeah, they kind of like it. Strong apples don't mind a bit of conflict. They think it's fun. They see it as a bit of sport. But the truth is, we have a lot to learn from apples' approach to conflict. They see it as intellectual debate or robust discussion. And when the conflict is over, they walk away. So they don't mull over it and stress about it like the rest of us do. They just keep moving. So they just bang, it's over, gone. But yeah, that's their dirty little secret. They quite enjoy it. And you know what I love most though about apples, the best qualities about apples are they are really direct. You will always know exactly where you stand. You don't have to second guess an apple because they will tell you. They're fast and can make really quality decisions quickly, and they're action people. So ladies and gentlemen, for now, that is apples. Let's go back and see if anybody has a question.
Does anyone want to admit they're actually an apple?
I'm about 50% apple.
Oh, well done, Amy. Yep.
What did you say? 50%?
I'm 50.
So you look like a really nice girl, Amy. And
Yeah.
I know, I'm starting to feel really bad. I'm hanging on to the other percentages and I'll see how I feel after that.
Look, you know, this is first of all, this is really quick. And I'm just going to stop sharing my screen for a moment so I can see everybody. There we are, that's better. First of all, this is really fast and furious, and please remember this is pop psychology. There are some really sophisticated profiling systems out there that will give you a lot of detail on this. This is designed, when I do it as a keynote or an in-house workshop, to be done fast, furious, and give everyone some guidelines to work with. But the really important thing to understand is it's not about putting people in little boxes and labeling them and saying, you are just this, because that's impossible. We're beautiful human beings made up of 20,000 different genes. So yeah, and look at your lovely smile, Amy. I'm sure there's something nice there.
Oh yeah, I'm not really upset about it. I can
know
myself in some of this. It's all good.
I'm the same as Amy. I'm mainly an apple, and it's definitely resonated with me. I'm thinking back to a performance review I had one time with a boss, and I was quite direct in my feedback. And they said to me, you know, I've been thinking for a while that you were my most difficult team member, but now I'm starting to think that maybe you're the only one who's honest with me.
Okay, so these are really great apple qualities because they are direct and to the point, and sometimes it's blunt, but generally speaking, apples don't mean to hurt. They're just telling you like it is, telling it like it is. And I think I say to everybody one thing when you're dealing with strong apples, because apples can cause a bit of havoc in the workplace because for people who are more sensitive and get upset, and it's just don't take it personally. Nothing is meant personally. It's just, here's a fact, what can we do about it? And you know, there are times when we all need to bring out our apple hat just a bit. Anything else?
Say, I'm waiting for the other fruits because I can't see me being anything but an apple. So I must have a bit of something.
I reckon you do, Jeanette. Let's go back to mangoes and see what we have there. See if you resonate with a mango. But I'm thinking I'm going to put it out there that you have a lot of banana and lime. Banana and lime is what I'm thinking.
I agree with that, Jeanette. Love your work.
I was only about 10% apple.
10% apple?
Yeah, I didn't have much there.
That's okay. 10% apple. If you take all the best bits of apple, being direct, being strong, you know, because there's a bunch of fruit that don't like conflict and don't like standing up to people. And yeah, right. So yes, because you've only got 10% apple, but this is critical. This is critical to have any movement in life, in our personal life or in our work life. we all have opinions, and our opinions count. I'll get onto that in a bit. Okay, let's go to our beautiful mangoes. What do mangoes love? They love life, baby.
Oh, yes, we do.
Lynne, can I just jump in quickly?
Yes,
I'm learning a little bit about Zoom as I go as well, I must admit, but I've discovered that just between the video imagery of us and your screen that we can see, there is a border. You can drag that border to the middle of your screen, and that way right now I can see everyone who's on this call and your screen. So you can drag it across a little bit.
Okay, I
That's
can.
great.
I think I can drag it. What a learning curve we're all in.
It's amazing, isn't it?
Yeah.
But yeah, it just means that I can see everyone's reactions there, and that's might be helpful for you as well.
I can't. I can still only getting 5 at a time.
Yeah, maybe because.
Okay, I won't waste your time now, but thank you. I will get back. I will get back to that. So thanks, Heath. Mangoes love life. Everything is wonderful to a mango. You know, it's a sunny day. I love the sunshine. It's a rainy day. I love the rain. It's you know, mango. I'm sorry, but in the morning your leg's going to be cut off. Well, that's okay. I only have to buy 1 shoe. You know, like mangoes just have this thing that everything is wonderful. They are completely optimistic. They are glass half full, and they find the good in everything. So you can see how as you go through, you'll see how every fruit has a role to play in this crisis. Mangoes have 2 speeds, fast and asleep. So that's all they do. They race around all day and they try and cram as much as possible into their day. They stub their toes, they kick their hips, they back the car into a pole and go, oh, silly me, never mind. And they just keep going. Yeah, you should be embarrassed, Beck. I'm looking at you.
I feel like I'm the definition of a mango in everything you say when you talk about a mango is just me. Absolutely me. But anyway, it's not about me. I'll get off the call. But it's just...
And that's the other thing. With mangoes, it is all about them. It's actually the truth. So they are, out of all the fruit, they are the most egotistical. They're also probably I'll stop. They're also probably the most funny ones. What they want to be liked. And that's why they try to be funny and they try to include people. And that's why, you know, someone like Beck is putting these things forward because she wants to keep everybody connected. So mangoes love people. They are masterful storytellers, and you'll often see them at a party telling a story about themselves normally again and again and again. But they are great at getting the troops inspired and excited. Mangoes love a challenge like the apples, but not so much to master a new skill. They like a challenge because they love variety. Mangoes are the ADHD fruit. They've kind of got 15 folders open in their head at one time and they're bouncing around them all. So it's really hard for mangoes to work on or tasks they see as tedious. So repetitive tasks. They use every color in the paint box, and they like to be doing something different all the time. That's the stuff that excites them. They also love big ideas. Mangoes are visionaries, and they think they see life through a wide angle lens, and to them anything is possible. Anything and everything is possible. So they're always coming up with these huge big ideas all the time where life is limitless. So if you think, they also want to sort of change the world, even if it's their world. So if you think people like Steve-O and Richard Branson, you know, big slices of mangoes, they see life differently to the rest of us. What they don't like, however, are rules. They hate the rules. They can't stand restrictions. It just, it hems them in, it stops their creativity, and they get really frustrated with it for the same reason. So they don't like to be micromanaged. So they're not overly respectful of the rules. They're the ones that turn up late for meetings, just don't quite get their reports in on time, you know, but when they turn up late, it's like, ta-da, it's me. So, you know, everyone's expected to go, hey, isn't this amazing? Beck's here, yay. So what else don't they like? They don't like negativity. That's a pretty obvious one because, you know, they are so positive themselves. They feel that people often cut down their big ideas. And if you know a mango, live with one or work with one, you'll know what it's like. The mango's going, we can do this and this and this and this and this, and it's exhausting. And so sometimes what the mango sees as negative is somebody saying, I'm just trying to give you some objective feedback here. But perception is a whole other thing, because that's all it is. It's how we see how we see each other and how we see ourselves are often two different things. And hot on the heels of negativity is small-mindedness. Mangoes can't stand small-mindedness because their ideas, as I said, are limitless. And people who need the rules, who won't change, people who say we've always done it this way, there is no need to do it anything differently. That's a really frustrating thing for a mango. When it comes to conflict, they don't mind conflict because they just want to get back to the party. People are there to have fun with, not to argue with. Let's just get it done and let's keep going back. And what I love most about mangoes is they are positive. They forgive and forget really, really quickly. They just move on, even if they've smashed the car into a pole. They're quite inspirational because they love to rally the troops. They love to be the advocate sometimes for the little people. And often their enthusiasm is simply infectious. And what I love about them is they are just fun to have around. So I'm loving our mangoes. Let me just go back before I move to our limes and come back to all of you to see if there's any comments. Any comments?
Can I just welcome Chrissy? I think Chrissy Thomas has just joined us on the call. Hello, madam. How are you?
Hello, madam. How are you?
We're good. Have you used Zoom before? Take yourself off video so we can see you. And
oh, really?
Face. Yeah, everybody else. We can see everybody else. We're in our jammies, for goodness sake. Don't worry.
Okay.
There you go. Good
Oh,
work.
hang on.
Oh, look at
Oh, wow. There you go.
How beautiful.
I love it.
Welcome, Chrissy.
G'day, Chrissy.
Sorry, Lynn.
Hi, Chrissy.
No, welcome, Chrissy. I was after any comments on mangoes. Anyone have any comments or questions so far?
Well, as someone who works with a mango on a day-to-day basis, I have to say it's a great joy, actually, to work with a mango. Yes, you're right, Lynn. There's lots and lots of ideas that come out, but just so much better to have those ideas than to be kind of quietly just chugging away in the background. So, yeah, I love working with a mango, no doubt at all.
Well, that's a massive suck, I reckon. That's all that is.
Yeah, maybe.
No,
I have to do something to slow it down.
Is anyone else a mango or is it just me?
Can you guys hear me?
Yes.
I was only about 15% mango.
I'm not sure it's about if anyone else is a mango, Beck, but you have to be like 90% mango.
Yeah, I'm right up there. Yep.
And the rest is apple.
Yes.
Apple. And I see
apple rising.
For anyone who doesn't know, I actually went to high school with Rebecca, and we all call her Spirit Captain Morley
Spirit Captain Morley.
That's awesome.
I was like, okay, when you're in a sports team and you've got to rally and give us a C and do and all that. That was my role.
Yeah, Spirit Captain.
That is a great role, right? We all have a role to play. And I see Tim is there. You're saying that you're 50-50 so far, and that probably is, I mean, listen to the lime and banana, but that's probably a perfect profile for an entrepreneur, a person like yourself. So because both mangoes and apple are big picture and they both think really quickly, the apple has all the logic, the mango's got the vision. So it's quite an entrepreneurial profile. So there you go. Let me see. Sorry?
Very interesting. I'll see what the other two are and see if it gets diluted or not.
Where's my screen gone, people?
So just share your screen.
Yeah, no, sorry, got back to it.
Yep,
got back to it. Okay, let me be careful. I'm taking up too much time, as is my want. All right. Okay, limes, love. Oh, we don't want presenter view. Sorry, folks. Okay, limes love order and routine and systems and procedures. For a lime, there is nothing better than a beautiful policy and procedures manual or putting their spices in alphabetical order. And there is a reason for this. If you get up at the same time every day, have the same cup of tea with the same burger and toast, get in your car, drive to the same car spot and order the same coffee from the same barista before you go to the same desk and open your emails at the same time, there is safety in that. There is less likely for things to go wrong. And limes hate it when things go wrong. They hate it when, if you make a mistake, they will nail you for it. But if they make a mistake, it's even worse, because things go over and over and over in their minds on video loop. They worry about it and they never stop thinking about it. Now, if any of you do this, you've got to stop it right now, get some therapy, fix yourself, because this will kill you, this stuff. Because when something happens, when there's a mistake or something goes wrong, it's fixed and then everyone else moves on, except for the limes. So understand, if you suffer from this, if this is something you do, and you might not be a lime, but it might be the lime in you that worries, just sort it, because it's really the worst thing that you can possibly do for yourself. Limes, the best thing, I should say, that you can do is to find a way to stop worrying. Limes are worriers by nature. They worry about the roses on the aphids and coronavirus and the war in Syria and bushfires. All of these things, as I'm saying them, I'm thinking, we barely hear anything about any of that anymore. It's just all COVID-19. So limes are real worriers, and this we'll talk about a little bit in a moment. Limes love a job well done. They are perfectionists. They like to do something from the beginning to the end and make it excellent. They'll stay as long as it takes to get the job done well. They are diligent, conscientious workers and great to have on a job. They can slow things down if they take a really long time. They love beauty. Limes really love beauty and aesthetics. And the reason is that they are great listeners, and they are often introverts rather than extroverts. So they spend a lot of time in their head, and this allows them to see the world. They notice the stuff that a lot of us, say mangoes, might not notice as they're racing around. And what you'll find with your lovely limes is many of them are creative. So they might be artists, or they might sculpt, they might paint, they might cook. You just don't see that in their regular job. Now, if I say to you what don't limes like, I can probably sum it up in just one slide. Limes don't like, yes, sorry about that. So limes don't like people who talk too much, who talk over the top of them, who finish their sentences for them, who are late and messy, blah, blah, blah. Mangoes, hello, Rebecca, and anybody else. But this is okay. This is completely normal for us. If anyone is going to get up your nose, it will be your opposite fruit. So apples and bananas and mangoes and limes. This is just normal, right? Because we're completely opposite. And it's funny because in our personal lives, we often end up with our opposite. And this is one of Carl Jung's theory, was that you seek to complete your personality by having those that you don't. And you'll find that in your personal lives, if you tee up with somebody who's opposite, early, you might not have the maturity to kind of deal with all the differences. But as we get older and we learn to respect and love those differences, you will know if you're with your opposite, you become an absolutely formidable team. Limes also don't like mess. For them, mess is mentally crippling. They cannot leave the house without having beds made and sinks stiffed and everything sorted. And in fact, so you can imagine what Limehouse is like at the moment. First of all, that's got to be perfect before we even start work or even start the day. And limes don't like show-offs. Hello, mangoes. So they are so modest themselves. Show-offs really frustrate them. And I've seen limes physically kind of go like this when people come into a room full of their big, fabulous stories. They don't like surprises. Unless they know about the surprises, which of course then it wouldn't be a surprise. A woman told me at a conference, this is an amazing story. She was a mango, wanted to put a surprise party on for her 40-year-old husband. He said, by the way, I don't want any parties for my birthday. She got everyone together. He opens the door, 50 people go, surprise. And he said, I told you I didn't want surprises. And he walked out. So never underestimate a lime's desire not to have a surprise. If they say they don't want it, they do not want it. Now, when it comes to conflict, limes never give up. And the reason for this is that out of all the fruit, limes find change the most challenging. So for them, they can do change. It's just they are more cautious, deliberate thinkers than the mangoes and the apples. They have to think things through. And if you add in the worry factor, change is the most challenging for them. They can still do it It just takes a little bit longer. And if you think about an argument, you're going to have to perhaps change your opinion in an argument. So limes will just hold on and never give up. But what I love about limes is that they bring a beautiful, calm logic to a team or a family. There is order, there is efficiency. They make sensible decisions. And when I'm with my lime friends, I must say they calm me down, and I really enjoy it. All right, any comments for our limes, please? Or any comments?
I feel like I'm about a 50% apple and a 50% lime, because I feel like I'm very much of a mix of both.
Okay, you look like that, Veronica, because you're neat. You look really neat and well put together, and that's usually a good sign of a lime. Right. So you would never wear that. You would never wear that stupid hat that Rebecca's got on.
No.
Sorry, go on, please.
Yeah, because I definitely love the order and the structure and routine very much. But then I love competition and problem solving and strategic thinking and all of that. But then I don't like conflict. So I'm very like, I don't know.
Yeah. So that's a really strong left brain profile. And limes would prefer not to have conflict. They'll do it if they have to, but they just prefer not to go near it. Great. Any other comments?
I have limes in my team, and I struggle to manage them as the apple that I am, in terms of wanting results faster, not wanting to give an essay on the context and the historical background of every task I want done. Let's just move. And it's a real challenge for me.
Yeah, it is. And the only way you get around that, Helen, is when everybody understands each other better. Honestly, this is, when I started this 1,000 years ago, it was all a bit of fun. It's become my biggest seller, and it's because it works and it resonates with people. It's easy to understand, easy to digest. And if I know that my boss, if I know that you're an apple and I'm a strong lime, but we've learnt it together, or any other personality profiling system that you may do, understanding more about each other is the key. Because then you can call it, then you can say, I'm really sorry, I've got my apple hat on today. I do not need your essay. Give me bullet points.
And the making a mistake as well. Like there's people who I don't, if there's something's gone wrong, and I've kind of gotten to the point where I actually don't want to tell them that a mistake's been made, because I don't want them to stew on it for a week. I'm like,
yes.
And that's not effective either.
Yeah, it's very, very common in event management, because what you often have is you have the mango, who's your sales agent, the one who goes out there, brings the business in, and what you really need is the lime back in the office to actually make sure everything is right. So you've got the right people, but I agree with you, Helen. It is one of those challenges in our industry. It's perhaps one of the clearest clashes in any industry, I think.
Another challenge that I'll talk about with bananas is bananas are nice to the point of being too nice sometimes. So we'll talk about that in a sec. But, Helen, the only thing that I would do is encourage this sort of a conversation, to be able to say, like, I know this is what you do. I know you worry. I know that you put things on video loop, but we can't move forward. So when you've got this language, if it's a blameless language, you can't take offense if someone says, take off your apple hat and bring out your inner banana. You can't take offense. It's silly. It makes people smile. So it's much easier to use rather than telling someone that they're real pain to work with. In the interest of time, I think I need to get onto bananas, because I haven't even talked about fruit at home yet. So I don't want to, I want to try and get through this information, and then Beck and Heath, you can make a decision on where you want me to stop. I'm also happy to come back another day if you'd like. Let's move to our beautiful bananas.
We have actually upgraded Zoom, so we don't cut you off at 40 minutes, but that's all good.
It's like the Oscars, like, get her off. Bananas love harmony. More than anything, they love harmony. They love it when their relationships are perfect, in harmony at work and at home. Then bananas are really happy. They love people. That's all they want, is to be around people. And for them, being at home is a real struggle, because especially if they're at home alone, I should say, is a real struggle, because they love the positive social environment that a work situation brings. Like, these people go to work because they love the people that they work with, and it's like a work family. So at the moment, if they're at home and they're alone in particular, and there's a real distinction, then they will, they're really they're really suffering. Bananas love collaboration. They love to be working on things towards shared goals. They love to be part of a successful team. They don't need all the accolades that the mango does. They just want to be part of that team. So being part of a team is critical for them. Probably one of the most important things, though, is bananas love to give. They love to give. They will give you the best piece of steak or the last piece of cake. They will organize the birthday cakes in the office for you. They will be saving you a piece if you want one. For them, giving is like breathing. And in fact, to have a job that doesn't involve caring, they have to care for someone. It gives their life purpose. So this is critical for them. But all this giving has a couple of dark sides. The first is that they take on so much, both in their home life and their work life, that they can't actually do everything that they wanted to do. And then they end up letting down the people they wanted to actually help in the first place. And the second thing is that they can't say no. So when they say yes to everything and they really want to say no, this little knot just keeps building in their stomach and gets bigger and bigger and angrier. And they don't say anything because they don't want to upset anyone. And the only person who hears about it is the poor bastard that they live with every night. So what happens then one day is someone says to the big banana, hey, listen, sorry, we're out of milk. And the banana just goes, out of milk! And they go mental. And everyone's going, what happened? Like, what's the story? No one's noticed that your banana is suffering because they suffer in silence. And it's funny because bananas consider themselves great communicators, and they are about anything positive. But if it's anything negative or there's conflict involved, they're out. So there's a clear lesson here, bananas. For any of you this resonates with, you have to learn to speak up. You start with the least scary people and you move up to the Helens of the world. And then, come on, you can take it. And then, but for the rest of us, we just have to watch our bananas. And it's even more important now that we're all on screens. So how can you tell when someone is hurting or scared or nervous? These things like what we're doing today and with your teams, if you're still working, it's just critical to stay connected. I'll quickly move through what bananas don't like because it's all quite obvious. Aggression, intolerance, impatience, hello apples, pressure. They don't like time pressure at all. They are steady, hard workers, but don't put the pressure on. I will just do it. I will get it done. Bananas are like the slow food movement of the fruit. And lastly, they don't like not being appreciated because they go out of their way to make sure that your life is good. They're the first to notice when you need a hug or a cup of tea. So they just want to be thanked. They just need to be appreciated. And I think we all know, anyone that's got any banana in them will know the answer to how they feel about conflict. Yeah, not so good. They will run an absolute mile. And for this, I go back to what I said about the apples in the beginning. Apples handle conflict well. They step up to it. They reframe it. Conflict is nothing negative. It is robust discussion. It is intellectual debate. Reframe it. And once again, bananas, start with people that are not so scary. If you want to start saying no, and then build up to the ones that are a bit more scary to work with. And we've got plenty of time to practice, it appears, at home. And lastly, I would just say that what I love about bananas is they are full of empathy. If out of all the fruit, these guys are the ones who can get inside your head, understand what drives you, and then be able to help because they have so much empathy. They're wonderful team players. They're kind. They're mediators in a team. And if any of you have bananas as friends, you'll know they are beautiful people. So that's our nanis. Let's stop, have a quick chat, and we'll talk about whether we want to hear about fruit at home or whether you'd like me to save that sort of stuff, Beck.
What does the group think? First of all, let's talk about our bananas. Do you think that's accurate? Do you think that's accurate, Jeanette? We all guessed, I guessed banana for you, but do you feel like you're a banana? Oh, hang on. Yeah, there you go. You're on mute.
I do feel like I'm a banana, and that's my natural situation, but I am so apple because that's the role I play.
Yes.
So I guess from what I'm gathering, it would be really good to have a bit of each fruit in you. So
Absolutely.
if you're balanced as a fruit, it's a bit like transactional analysis. If you're balanced as a parent, adult or child, you become a better person. So I see the fruit balance being very important to how we are.
Yeah, that's really insightful, Jeanette, and critical, because whilst we all have a preference, we can all learn to work in the other fruit. We can. It's just harder to work in a quadrant that doesn't come naturally. But there are times when we need to pull out each of the different fruit. If you think about what each fruit brings to the workplace, into the team, without the bananas, we don't have the cohesiveness and the connectiveness and the caring. So bananas care about the clients. Bananas care about the people. Apples make the fast, hard decisions that are sometimes necessary and provide that they don't always need to be leaders, although they always want to be. Our limes, what would we do without order and systems? And our mangoes, what would we do without vision and flair and fun? So I think if you are still working and you have teams, have a look at your teams and understand who you've got, because you might be deficient in one. If you're deficient in one area, you need to think about how you bring that in. So for example, if you've got a whole team of apples and limes, that's a very left brain team. Think about, when you're making a big decision, how can we look at this from another perspective? How do we problem solve by putting another hat on and bringing in someone of a different fruit? Anyone else on the banana side?
Yeah, I was 53% banana, and I think the other 3 was split evenly.
Nice.
I thought it was also spot on.
Michelle, are you working alone at home, or have you been stood down? What's your situation?
No, so I'm a PCO. I work for a company in Sydney. I've been with them for 14 years. And I work, GEMS Event Management.
Oh, great.
Yeah, so I've been with them for quite a while, and I've been actually working, I'm in Pottsville. So I've been working here for the last 8 years. 5 years, but I've been working remotely. So it's really interesting. Like I really need that personal interaction, and that's probably been the hardest thing, working from home and being autonomous in that regard. But yeah, that was it's quite funny. That's so spot on. But I work with my boss, Julie. She's, I'd say 100% apple. She's just determined, knows exactly what she says, how it is. But I've learned from that in 14 years. So I think that's where a bit of my other, especially my personal to my professional. Professionally, I think you just have to learn how to pick up those other attributes. Otherwise, you just sink. So, and saying no, obviously being in sales and marketing and a sort of business development role, I hate saying no. Absolutely hate it. It's strange. But it's just something you have to do sometimes, and I've had to learn how to say no.
It's good. Sounds like you've done some really great personal growth over that 14 years.
Yeah.
Any other comments?
I haven't done the test yet, but I feel like it's a bit of a mixture of everything, and I really can't decide. So it feels like a bit of an apple and sorry, can you hear?
Yes.
Yeah, I feel like it's a bit of an apple, mango, bit of lime because I do like structure, and then banana as well. But I'll be curious to see what the test says.
And you'll have to share it with us, Lena, so that we all know you're not having some sort of identity crisis next week. You'll need to share that.
No, with us. I can see a few bits and bobs out of everything, but yeah, it'll be interesting. Yeah, probably. Yeah.
You know, it's also really just about understanding, recognizing the traits in other people, so that when you see those traits, you go, okay, right, this is how I need to react. So I guess I'd just say in this in a keynote or a workshop, I would delegates or any delegates would do the quiz before they come along, so that creates a bit of anticipation for people. So everyone comes along knowing what they do, and in a longer session we talk about these characteristics and challenges. We talk about how to communicate more effectively with them. Sometimes we talk about our own, depending on the length, we can talk about our own challenges, because this is a really broad application. It doesn't matter whether you're managing up or down or to your family or whatever. So that would normally take, that's how it would normally run. Today we haven't had time to talk about communication. We've talked about it a little, or even working from home. So I'm happy to go on a little bit longer, but I'm aware that everyone has different
I think we'll probably have to wrap it up there, Lynn, only because there is a MIA webinar that starts at midday as well. So and I think a couple of people that are on this call have RSVP'd to be on that call as well. So just to allow them to have some time between those two. But I think, I mean, there's no reason why we can't get you back to do another session because I think it's quite entertaining. So if anyone didn't have any other questions, I'm happy to wrap it up just there. Did anyone have any other questions of Lynn's?
I just wanted to ask Lynne, I love your analysis and I believe I can apply it to my tourism board and that will help me understand them. But I'd like to buy your book, and he's put something up below. Can we buy it online?
Yes, you can. You can. I meant to put it on the
I want to
slide,
buy it too.
but I didn't. Yeah, if you go to, it's on my website, which is just lynneschinella.com.au, but you could also go to bitemebook.com.au because the book is called Bite Me and Other Do's and Don'ts of Dealing with Our Differences. So just bitemebook.com.au. And that will get you straight there. And it's on Amazon as well if you want a Kindle version. But apparently there's a lot of Bite Me books about vampires, so you'll need to put Bite Me Lynne Schinella to be able to get it. I'm now
we'll share the link afterwards, Lynne. We'll share the link again. Yep.
Thanks, Heath. And I'm also starting to run these workshops online. So 90-minute workshops online with your teams. If you've still got teams up and running, it looks like we're stuck where we are for now. So really happy to talk to anybody who'd like to do that. Or just if you want to have a chat about anything, please give me a call. My phone number's on the website. And thanks so much for having me, you guys.
Thank you
for coming on, Lynne.
It was amazing.
It's been great.